Have you ever walked into a room and felt completely invisible? Like you could disappear into the wallpaper and nobody would even notice? Or maybe you've been that girl who tries so hard to get attention, to be liked, to be chosen, but somehow it always backfires and you end up feeling more desperate and invisible than before? I've been both of those girls, and I'm here to tell you something that might sound too good to be true, but I promise you it's not. There's a version of you that walks into every room and people just notice. Not because you're trying hard or putting on a show, but because you carry this energy, this magnetic presence that draws people to you like they can't help themselves. That version of you, she's not some fantasy. She's not a completely different person. She's you, just operating from a completely different energetic frequency. And the crazy part is, you can literally reprogram yourself to become her while you sleep. I know how that sounds. Trust me, I was skeptical too. But stick with me for the next hour or so because I'm about to share something that changed everything for me, and it can change everything for you too. The girl who commands the room. Let's start with the truth about magnetism. You know that girl. We all know her. She might not be the prettiest girl in the room, the smartest, or even the most successful. But when she speaks, people listen. When she laughs, others want to be part of the joke. When she walks by, heads turn. Not because she's trying to get attention, but because there's something about her energy that's just captivating. I used to think girls like that were born different, like they had some special gene that made them naturally confident, naturally magnetic. I thought it was about looks, or money, or having the perfect life. I spent years trying to copy the outside, the way they dressed, the way they talked, even the way they held their phone, but copying the surface never worked because I was missing the most important part. The secret isn't in what they're doing, it's in what they're being. These women have what I call a magnetic aura, an energy field that radiates confidence, self-worth, and feminine power. It's not something you can fake with the right outfit or the perfect Instagram post. It comes from deep within, from the subconscious programming that runs in the background of their minds 24/7. And here's what I discovered that changed everything. This programming can be rewritten while you sleep. My energy was working against me. Let me get real with you for a minute. 3 years ago, I was the girl who tried too hard. I was constantly seeking validation, constantly worried about what others thought, constantly feeling like I wasn't enough. I had this underlying anxiety that maybe I was too much or maybe I wasn't enough, sometimes both in the same day. I thought I was being friendly and open, but looking back, I realized my energy was actually repelling people. I was operating from a frequency of lack, of neediness, of please like me, and people could feel it, even if they couldn't put it into words. Have you ever noticed how when you really, really want something to happen, it somehow becomes less likely to happen? Like when you're crushing hard on someone and you start overthinking every text, analyzing every interaction, trying to be perfect, and suddenly they start pulling away? That was my entire existence. I was radiating, I need you to validate me energy, and nobody finds that attractive. The breaking point came at my friend Sarah's birthday party. I had spent hours getting ready, picking the perfect outfit, practicing conversation topics in the mirror. I walked into that party feeling like I looked amazing, ready to have the best night ever. But within an hour, I was standing in the corner, watching everyone else have fun while I felt completely invisible. Guys I'd been texting were barely acknowledging me. Friends were having deep conversations that I couldn't seem to break into. Even the birthday girl seemed too busy to really connect with me. I went home that night and cried. Not just because I'd had a bad time, but because I realized this was a pattern. This was my life. I was exhausting myself trying to be magnetic, but somehow I kept ending up more invisible than ever. That's when I started researching energy, aura, and the subconscious mind. And that's when everything began to change. The subconscious secret. Here's what I learned that night, sitting on my bedroom floor with my laptop, diving deep into research at 2 a.m. Your conscious mind, the part that's thinking and trying and planning, is only about 5% of your mental activity. The other 95%, that's your subconscious mind, running programs in the background that you're not even aware of. These programs determine how you show up in the world. They control your body language, your energy, the vibe you give off. They're like invisible software running in the background of your life, and most of the time, we have no idea what programs are actually running. For most of my life, my subconscious programs were something like, I'm not naturally likable. I have to work hard to get attention. People will reject me if they see the real me. And I'm not as naturally magnetic as other girls. Every day, these programs were broadcasting from my energy field. People could sense my insecurity, my neediness, my desperation to be liked, even when I was trying my hardest to appear confident. But here's the incredible part. Your subconscious mind is most active and most programmable when you're asleep. During sleep, your conscious mind, with all its doubts and resistance, steps aside. Your brain waves slow down, your critical thinking goes offline, and your subconscious becomes incredibly receptive to new information. This is why sleep hypnosis and sleep programming work so powerfully. You're literally installing new software in your mind while you rest. The overnight shift. The first time I tried sleep programming for magnetic energy, I honestly didn't expect much. I found some affirmations online, put them on repeat, and went to sleep listening to them. I figured if it worked, great. If not, at least I'd get a good night's sleep. But I woke up different. It's hard to explain, but I felt more centered, more solid in myself, like I was taking up space in a good way instead of trying to shrink or overcompensate. When I looked in the mirror, I saw the same face, but somehow I looked more vibrant, more alive. The real test came when I went to work that day. My coworker, Jake, who usually just gave me a polite hey when he passed my desk, actually stopped to chat. My boss, who typically seems stressed and distracted during our meetings, was more engaged and actually asked for my opinion on a project. Small things, but I could feel something had shifted. That was just one night of subconscious programming. Imagine what becomes possible when you commit to this process, when you understand exactly how to structure your sleep sessions for maximum magnetic impact, when you learn to work with your energy in a way that creates lasting transformation. Why this matters more than ever. We live in a world that's more connected than ever, but somehow we're feeling more isolated, more invisible, more desperate for real connection. Social media has us constantly comparing ourselves to others, wondering why some people seem to effortlessly attract friends, opportunities, and romantic interest while we're struggling to get people to respond to our texts. The truth is, magnetism isn't about being perfect. It's not about having the perfect life or the perfect look. It's about being aligned with your own power, comfortable in your own energy, and radiating the kind of authentic confidence that draws people in naturally. This work, developing your magnetic aura and strengthening your feminine energy, isn't just about attracting others. It's about feeling at home in your own skin. It's about walking into rooms and belonging there. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you know your worth. It's about becoming the kind of woman who doesn't have to chase opportunities or relationships because she naturally draws them to her. The kind of woman who trusts herself, who speaks her truth, who takes up space unapologetically. That woman isn't some future version of you that you have to earn your way to. She's already inside you, just waiting to be activated. The journey we're taking together. Over the next 7 parts of this guide, I'm going to take you step by step through everything you need to know to develop your magnetic aura and embody powerful feminine energy through sleep programming. We'll start by understanding what feminine energy actually is and how it differs from masculine energy, because magnetic power comes from being aligned with your natural feminine gifts, not from trying to be someone you're not. Then we'll dive deep into how your subconscious mind works and why sleep is the ultimate gateway for transformation. I'll walk you through creating the perfect environment for magnetic sleep programming, and then give you the exact scripts and techniques I use to reprogram limiting beliefs and install powerful new patterns. We'll cover advanced energy work that happens while you sleep, and I'll show you how to integrate your overnight transformation into your waking life. By the end of this journey, you'll have everything you need to become magnetically attractive, not through manipulation or trying hard, but through aligning with your authentic power and letting that energy draw your ideal life to you. The most beautiful part? This transformation happens while you sleep. No effort, no forcing, no trying hard, just you, your pillow, and the incredible power of your subconscious mind working for you through the night. What's really possible? Before we dive deeper, I want you to understand what's truly possible when you commit to this work. I'm not talking about becoming a completely different person or suddenly having a perfect life. I'm talking about becoming more yourself, more aligned, more authentic, more powerful. When your magnetic aura is activated, people notice you differently. They're drawn to your energy without knowing why. Conversations flow more easily. Opportunities seem to present themselves more often. You feel more comfortable in social situations because you're not trying to be anything other than who you are. Romantic connections become more natural and authentic because you're not operating from a place of neediness or desperation. You're whole within yourself, so you attract partners who are also whole, who are drawn to your genuine energy rather than trying to fill some void. Career opportunities start appearing because people want to work with someone who radiates confidence and authenticity. Your ideas are heard more clearly because you're speaking from a place of inner knowing rather than seeking approval. But most importantly, you feel at peace with yourself. You stop constantly second-guessing yourself. Stop walking into rooms wondering if you belong there. Stop exhausting yourself trying to be perfect. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming fully, magnetically yourself. The woman you're meant to be is already inside you, waiting to be awakened. She just needs the right programming to step fully into her power. Are you ready to meet her? Because tomorrow night, when you put your head on your pillow, you can begin the process of calling her forth. And she's been waiting for you to finally let her shine. Okay, let's talk about something that might feel a little woo-woo at first, but stick with me because this is the foundation of everything we're going to build together. We need to understand what feminine energy actually is, and more importantly, why most of us have been taught to suppress the very thing that makes us naturally magnetic. I'm going to guess that when you hear feminine energy, you might think of pink flowers, soft voices, and being passive or submissive. Or maybe you roll your eyes a little because you're strong and independent and you don't need anyone to open doors for you. Thank you very much. Here's the thing. Feminine energy has nothing to do with being weak, passive, or traditional. It's actually one of the most powerful forces in the universe. And when you understand how to embody it authentically, you become absolutely magnetic. But first, let me tell you about the day I realized I'd been living as a completely different person than who I actually was. The girl who tried to be a boy. I was sitting in a meeting at my old job surrounded by mostly guys trying my hardest to be taken seriously. I had learned to speak louder, interrupt more, take up more space. I thought that's what confidence looked like. I thought that's how you got ahead. But something felt off. I was exhausted all the time. I felt like I was constantly performing, constantly trying to prove myself. And despite all my efforts to be seen as strong and capable, I felt more insecure than ever. That day, Sarah from accounting made a suggestion about the project we were discussing. She spoke quietly, almost apologetically, but there was something about the way she said it that made everyone in the room stop and really listen. Her idea was brilliant, and everyone knew it immediately. I remember feeling so frustrated watching this. Here I was, practically shouting my ideas, interrupting people, trying so hard to command attention, and she whispers one sentence and suddenly has the whole room captivated. What was she doing that I wasn't? Later that week, I was at a coffee shop and I started people watching, something I'd never really done before. I began noticing the women who naturally drew attention versus the ones who seemed to disappear into the background. The magnetic women weren't necessarily the loudest or the most traditionally beautiful, but they had this quality, this presence, that was impossible to ignore. They moved differently, they spoke differently, they seemed comfortable in their own skin in a way that was almost enviable. And then it hit me. They weren't trying to be men. They weren't suppressing their natural femininity to be taken seriously. They were embodying it, and that's what made them so powerful. The ancient secret we forgot. For thousands of years, cultures around the world understood that feminine and masculine energies are both essential forces that exist in everyone, regardless of gender. These aren't about being male or female. They're about two different ways of moving through the world. Masculine energy is direct, goal-oriented, structured, and focused. It's the energy of making things happen, of pushing forward, of conquering obstacles. It's yang energy, active, external, doing. Feminine energy is receptive, intuitive, flowing, and magnetic. It's the energy of drawing things to you, of creating space for growth, of nurturing potential. It's yin energy, receptive, internal, being. Both energies are incredibly powerful and we all need both to be whole. But here's what happened. Somewhere along the way, especially in the last few decades, we got the message that feminine energy was weak, outdated, or somehow less valuable than masculine energy. So many of us learned to suppress our natural feminine gifts. We learned to be louder instead of more magnetic, to push harder instead of drawing opportunities to us, to compete instead of collaborate, to think our way through everything instead of trusting our intuition. And in doing so, we cut ourselves off from the very source of our natural magnetism. Why your energy might be working against you. Let me ask you something and be honest with yourself. When you want something, whether it's a job, a relationship, or even just someone's attention, what's your instinct? Do you try to make it happen, or do you trust that you can attract it to you? Most of us have been trained to chase. We chase opportunities. We chase relationships. We chase validation. We think magnetism means being more aggressive, more outgoing, more out there. But here's what I learned. Chasing actually repels what you want. It broadcasts an energy of lack, of need, of not being enough as you are. And people can feel that energy even if they can't consciously identify it. Think about it in your own life. Have you ever had someone who was really trying hard to get your attention or approval? Maybe they were texting too much, trying too hard to impress you, or just seemed a little desperate for your validation. How did that make you feel? Probably uncomfortable, right? Maybe even a little annoyed or put off. That's because their energy was pushing toward you instead of drawing you in. Now think about someone you've been naturally drawn to. I bet they had a quality of being comfortable with themselves, of not needing anything from you. They were just being themselves, and that authenticity was magnetic. That's the difference between masculine energy, pushing, chasing, making things happen, and feminine energy, being magnetic, drawing things to you, trusting in your natural power to attract. The energy blocks that keep you invisible. Over the years of working with women on developing their magnetic presence, I've noticed the same energy blocks coming up again and again. These are the subconscious programs that literally repel the things we want most. The I'm not enough block. This is the big one. Deep down, so many of us believe we're not naturally likable, not naturally attractive, not naturally worthy of attention or love. So we try to compensate by doing more, being more, proving our worth. But when you're operating from I'm not enough, your energy becomes about seeking validation instead of sharing your gifts. People can feel that neediness, and it's actually repelling. The key I have to work hard for everything block. We live in a culture that glorifies the hustle, that tells us we have to earn everything through effort and struggle. While hard work absolutely has its place, this belief can block your ability to receive and attract. When you believe you have to force everything to happen, you cut yourself off from the natural flow of opportunities and connections that want to come to you. The it's not safe to be seen block. Many of us have learned that it's safer to stay small, to not draw too much attention, to blend in rather than stand out. Maybe you were criticized as a child for being too much, or maybe you learned that visible women get judged harshly. This block keeps you dimming your light, playing small, and literally making yourself invisible to avoid potential judgment or rejection. The I can't trust my intuition block. Feminine energy is deeply intuitive, but we live in a world that values logic and reason above all else. Many of us have learned not to trust our gut feelings, our inner knowing, our natural wisdom. When you can't trust yourself, you constantly second-guess your decisions, seek external validation for everything, and lose touch with the inner confidence that makes you naturally magnetic. Desperate energy versus magnetic energy. Let me paint you a picture of how these two different energies show up in real life, because once you understand the difference, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Desperate energy in action. She walks into a party already scanning for who she knows, worried about who she'll talk to. She texts her crush immediately when she gets home from a date, analyzing his response time. She posts carefully curated photos on Instagram, and then checks obsessively to see how many likes they get. In conversations, she often agrees with people, even when she doesn't really agree, trying to be liked. She laughs a little too loud at jokes that aren't that funny. She offers to help with everything, even when she's already overwhelmed. She's constantly seeking validation from outside sources, friends, romantic interests, social media, work colleagues. Her energy is reaching outward, trying to pull approval and attention toward her. Magnetic energy in action. She walks into the same party comfortable in her own skin, genuinely curious about the people she'll meet. After a great date, she feels complete and happy regardless of when or if he texts back. She posts photos because she loves them, not because she needs the validation. In conversations, she's authentically herself, agreeing when she agrees, offering different perspectives when she sees things differently. Her laugh is genuine and draws people in. She offers help when she truly wants to, and she's comfortable saying no when she needs to. She validates herself. She knows her worth isn't dependent on other people's opinions or approval. Her energy is centered in herself, and that centeredness naturally draws others to her. See the difference? It's not about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about being rooted in yourself rather than constantly seeking external validation. The magnetism of self-acceptance. Here's something I learned that completely shifted how I show up in the world. The most magnetic quality you can have is genuine self-acceptance, not arrogance, not thinking you're perfect, just being okay with who you are right now, including your flaws and imperfections. When you're truly okay with yourself, you stop needing other people to make you feel okay. And when you don't need anything from people, they're naturally drawn to your energy because it feels safe and authentic. I remember the first time I experienced this shift. I was at a networking event, normally something that made me super anxious. But I had been working on my energy for a few weeks and something was different. Instead of walking around trying to impress people or prove my worth, I was just genuinely interested in connecting with others. I wasn't trying to get anything from anyone, not their approval, not their business cards, not their validation. And the weirdest thing happened. People kept gravitating toward me. Conversations flowed effortlessly. People were asking for my contact information. I left that event with more genuine connections than I'd made in months of trying hard at other events. The only thing that had changed was my energy. I had stopped needing anything from anyone, and that freedom made me magnetic. The power of feminine intuition. One of the most potent aspects of feminine energy is intuition, that inner knowing that guides you toward what's right for you and away from what isn't. But most of us have been trained out of trusting our intuition. We've been taught to make pro and con lists, to think everything through logically, to seek advice from everyone else before trusting our own inner wisdom. Magnetic women trust their gut. They can sense when someone is right for them or wrong for them. They know when an opportunity aligns with their path or when it's a distraction. They don't need to overanalyze every decision because they're connected to their inner guidance system. This doesn't mean being impulsive or ignoring practical considerations. It means including your intuitive wisdom alongside your logical thinking when making decisions. When you trust yourself at this deep level, other people can sense it. They feel your groundedness, your inner knowing, your connection to something deeper than just surface level thinking. And that's incredibly magnetic. The flow state of attraction feminine energy operates in flow rather than force. Instead of trying to make everything happen through sheer willpower, you learn to move with the natural currents of life. This might sound passive, but it's actually incredibly powerful. When you're in flow, you're open to opportunities you never could have planned for. You're available for connections that want to find you. You're receptive to the abundance that's trying to reach you. I used to plan every detail of my life, trying to control every outcome through careful strategy and hard work. And while that approach got me some results, it was exhausting. I was constantly swimming upstream, forcing doors open that wanted to stay closed. When I learned to trust in my magnetic power, to put my energy and intention out there and then allow life to respond, everything became easier. Not because I stopped taking action, but because my actions were more aligned, more intuitive, more in flow with what wanted to happen naturally. Why this matters for sleep programming. You might be wondering what all this has to do with sleep hypnosis and subconscious programming. Here's the connection. Your subconscious mind is where all these energy patterns live. Those blocks we talked about, I'm not enough. I have to work hard for everything. It's not safe to be seen. They're not just thoughts. They're programs running in the background of your mind, shaping how you show up energetically in every situation. During sleep, when your conscious mind is offline, you have direct access to these subconscious programs. You can literally reprogram them, installing new beliefs and energy patterns that align you with your natural magnetic power. But before we can install the new programs, you need to understand what you're installing. You need to understand what magnetic feminine energy actually feels like, what it looks like in action, and how it differs from the desperate seeking energy that most of us have been programmed with. This foundation is crucial because you can't fake magnetic energy. You can't just repeat affirmations while your subconscious still believes you're not naturally attractive or worthy of love. The new programming has to align with a deeper understanding of your true nature and power. The shift that changes everything. The shift from desperate energy to magnetic energy isn't about becoming a different person. It's about returning to who you actually are underneath all the conditioning and programming that taught you to seek validation outside yourself. Every woman has natural magnetism. Every woman has feminine power. Every woman has the ability to draw her desires to her rather than chasing them. The question isn't whether you have this power, you do. The question is whether you're willing to claim it, embody it, and let it guide how you show up in the world. This shift starts with understanding these concepts intellectually, but it becomes real through subconscious programming. Your sleeping mind is where the magic happens, where these new patterns become integrated at such a deep level that they become your natural way of being. Tomorrow night, when you prepare for your first magnetic sleep session, you'll be building on everything we've discussed here. You'll be installing new programs that align you with your authentic feminine power, that help you embody the magnetic presence that's your birthright. But first, you need to understand exactly how your subconscious mind works during sleep and why this particular window of time is so incredibly powerful for transformation. Because when you understand the science behind what we're doing, you'll approach your sleep sessions with the confidence and intention that amplifies your results exponentially. I have to tell you about the night everything clicked for me. I'd been struggling with traditional self-help for years, reading every personal development book I could get my hands on, doing morning affirmations in the mirror, making vision boards, trying to think my way into being more confident, and honestly, I was getting pretty discouraged. I'd have these moments of feeling amazing and powerful, usually right after finishing an inspiring book or watching a motivational video. But by the next day, or sometimes even just a few hours later, I'd be right back to my old patterns of insecurity and people-pleasing. It was like there were two versions of me, the version who knew I was worthy and magnetic and powerful, and the version who actually lived my day-to-day life. And that second version always seemed to win. Then I stumbled across something that changed everything: the science of sleep programming. And once I understood what was actually happening in my brain during those 8 hours every night, I realized I'd been trying to change myself with the wrong tools entirely. What I'm about to share with you isn't just theory or wishful thinking. This is hard science, backed by decades of research into how the brain works during sleep. And when you understand this, you'll see why sleep programming is literally the fastest and most effective way to create lasting change in how you show up in the world. Your two minds, the daily battle you don't even know you're fighting. Let's start with something that might blow your mind a little bit. You don't actually have one brain. You have two distinct operating systems running in your head at all times. Your conscious mind is the one you know about. It's the voice in your head right now, reading these words, thinking thoughts, making decisions. It's logical, analytical, and loves to problem solve. It's also incredibly limited. It can only focus on a few things at once, and it's constantly filtering information based on what it thinks is important. Your conscious mind is like the CEO of a company. It thinks it's in charge, it makes the big decisions you're aware of, but honestly, it's only controlling about 5% of what's actually happening in your life. The other 95%, that's your subconscious mind. And this is where it gets really interesting. Your subconscious mind is like the most sophisticated computer ever created, running millions of programs simultaneously without you ever having to think about it. It's controlling your heartbeat, your breathing, your immune system. It's storing every memory you've ever had, processing every experience, and creating automatic responses to everything you encounter. More importantly, for our purposes, your subconscious mind is what determines your energy, your presence, your automatic reactions to social situations. It's the part of you that decides whether you feel confident or insecure when you walk into a room, whether you naturally attract people or repel them, whether you trust yourself or constantly second guess your decisions. Here's the thing that used to frustrate me so much. Your conscious mind can want to be confident all day long, but if your subconscious programs are running scripts about not being worthy or likable, guess which one wins? Every single time. Why willpower fails and why you're not broken. This is why traditional self-help often feels like such a struggle. You're using your conscious mind to try to override subconscious programming that's been running for years, maybe decades. It's like trying to steer a massive ship with a tiny rudder. Think about it in your own life. How many times have you decided you were going to be more confident only to find yourself shrinking back into old patterns the moment you felt socially anxious? How many times have you affirmed that you're worthy of love, only to find yourself seeking validation from people who clearly don't deserve your attention? This used to make me feel like I was broken somehow, like I just didn't have enough willpower or determination. But the truth is, willpower was never the problem. I was just trying to create change at the wrong level. Your subconscious mind is about 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind. When there is a conflict between what you consciously want and what's programmed in your subconscious, the subconscious wins every time. Not because you're weak, but because that's literally how your brain is designed to work. The good news? When you work with your subconscious mind, instead of against it, change becomes not only possible, but almost effortless. And the best time to access your subconscious mind is when your conscious mind is completely offline. When you're sleeping. The science of sleep, your brain's nightly transformation. Okay, let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you sleep, because this is where things get really exciting. For most of human history, we thought sleep was just downtime, like your brain was taking a break from all the hard work of being awake. But modern neuroscience has revealed that sleep is actually when your brain does some of its most important work. During certain stages of sleep, your brain waves slow down dramatically. In the deepest stages, your brain produces what are called delta waves, incredibly slow, powerful waves that put you in a state that's perfect for learning and reprogramming. In this state, something amazing happens. The critical factor of your conscious mind goes completely offline. You know that little voice in your head that questions everything, that says, yeah, right, when you try to tell yourself you're confident and magnetic? That voice is silent during deep sleep. Without that critical resistance, your subconscious mind becomes incredibly receptive to new information. It's like having direct access to your brain's programming without any of the usual gatekeepers. But here's the part that really got my attention. During sleep, your brain is literally rewiring itself. It's strengthening neural pathways that support new beliefs and behaviors while weakening old patterns that no longer serve you. Scientists call this synaptic plasticity, and it's happening every single night while you sleep. The question is, what programming is being strengthened? Random thoughts from your day old fears and insecurities, or intentional, positive programming that aligns you with your magnetic power. The REM revolution. When your identity gets updated. There's another stage of sleep that's crucial for our work. REM sleep, when you dream. During REM, your brain is almost as active as when you're awake, but it's doing something very specific. It's processing experiences and integrating new information into your sense of self. This is when your brain literally updates your identity. It takes the experiences and information from your day and weaves them into the story of who you are. It's deciding what to keep, what to discard, and how to integrate new patterns into your personality. Normally, this process happens automatically based on whatever your brain processed during the day. But when you intentionally program positive messages during sleep, you're giving your brain high-quality material to work with during this identity update process. Instead of just processing random anxieties and insecurities from your day, your brain is integrating messages about your magnetic power, your worthiness, your natural ability to attract what you desire. Over time, these new patterns don't just become thoughts you think, they become part of who you are. They get integrated into your identity at such a deep level that they feel natural and automatic. My first real result, the coffee shop transformation. Let me tell you about the first time I really experienced what sleep programming could do, because this is when I went from being skeptical to being completely convinced. I had been doing sleep affirmations for about a week, just basic stuff I found online about confidence and self-worth. Honestly, I wasn't expecting much. I figured it was worth trying, but I had been disappointed by so many self-help techniques before. But after that week, something was different. I couldn't put my finger on it at first, but I felt more solid, more present in my own skin. The real test came when I went to my favorite coffee shop on Saturday morning. There was this guy I'd had a crush on for months, one of the baristas who was always friendly but had never shown any romantic interest. Usually when I ordered from him, I'd get tongue-tied and awkward, trying too hard to be charming and probably coming across as weird. But that morning, something was different. I wasn't trying to impress him or get his attention. I was just myself. I ordered my usual drink, made some casual conversation about the music they were playing, and went to find a seat. And here's the crazy part. He brought my drink over to my table instead of calling my name. He lingered for a moment, asking what I was reading, and then, completely out of nowhere, he asked if I wanted to grab dinner sometime. Now, I'm not telling you this story because the goal is to attract random guys, although that can be a nice side effect. I'm telling you because this interaction was so different from my usual experience. I wasn't trying to make anything happen. I wasn't seeking his validation or approval. I was just comfortable being myself, and that comfort was magnetic. That's when I realized something profound was shifting. The sleep programming wasn't just changing my thoughts, it was changing my energy, my presence, the way I naturally showed up in the world. Why sleep programming works when nothing else does. Here's what I discovered through both research and experience. Sleep programming works where other methods fail because it bypasses all the resistance and limitations of your conscious mind. When you're awake and trying to change, your conscious mind is constantly interfering. It's questioning, doubting, analyzing. It's bringing up all the reasons why the change isn't possible or realistic. It's remembering all the times you tried to be confident before and it didn't work. But when you're sleeping, that interference is gone. Your subconscious mind can receive new programming without any of the usual skepticism or resistance. It's like the difference between trying to plant seeds in rocky, resistant soil versus planting them in perfectly prepared, receptive earth. The seeds are the same, but the environment determines whether they can actually take root and grow. During sleep, your mind is in the perfect state to receive and integrate new programming. Your brainwaves are slow and receptive. Your critical thinking is offline and your neural pathways are literally being rewired. But, and this is crucial, you have to understand how to work with this process effectively. You can't just put any old affirmations on repeat and expect magic to happen. There's a specific way to prepare for sleep programming that amplifies your results exponentially. The preparation ritual that changes everything. This is where most people get sleep programming wrong. They think they can just throw on some affirmations as they're falling asleep and expect transformation. But the most powerful results happen when you properly prepare your mind and environment for programming. Your preparation ritual is like setting up the perfect conditions for seeds to grow. It signals to your subconscious mind that something important is about to happen, and it puts you in the optimal state for receiving new programming. Here's the preparation process that took my results from, yeah, maybe something's different, to, holy shit, I'm becoming a completely different person. Step 1, the energy clear. Before you can install new programming, you need to clear out the energy from your day. All the little stresses, interactions, and mental chatter that can interfere with your sleep programming. I spend about 5 minutes doing what I call an energy shower. I literally visualize all the energy that isn't mine, other people's moods, expectations, judgments, flowing off me and down an imaginary drain. I imagine stepping out of the shower feeling clean, clear, and completely myself. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Most of us carry so much energetic residue from our day that our minds are cluttered when we try to sleep. Clearing this clutter creates space for new programming to take root. Step 2. The intention setting. Before you start your sleep programming, you need to be crystal clear about what you want to install. Your subconscious mind responds to specific, clear direction much better than vague wishes. I write down exactly what I want to program that night. Not just, I want to be confident, but I am naturally magnetic and comfortable in social situations. People are drawn to my authentic energy. I trust myself completely. The more specific you are, the more effectively your subconscious can work with the programming. Step 3. The receptivity state. This is the key step that most people skip, and it's what makes the difference between programming that sort of works and programming that creates profound transformation. You need to put yourself in a state of complete receptivity, mentally, emotionally, and physically. This means releasing any skepticism, any resistance, any need to analyze or control the process. I do this through what I call surrender breathing. Deep, slow breaths where I consciously let go of any need to make the programming work. I trust that my subconscious mind knows exactly what to do with the messages I'm about to receive. This surrender state is crucial because resistance, even subconscious resistance, can block the programming from taking root. The frequency factor. Why your energy state matters. Here's something most people don't understand about sleep programming. It's not just about the words or affirmations you use, it's about the energetic frequency you're broadcasting while you receive them. If you're anxious or desperate for change, that energy gets programmed in along with the words. If you're skeptical or resistant, that resistance becomes part of the programming too. But when you're in a state of calm receptivity, when you're genuinely open to receiving the new programming, that openness amplifies the effectiveness exponentially. This is why the preparation ritual is so important. It's not just about relaxing your body, it's about getting into an energetic state that supports transformation. The nights when I rushed through my preparation, when I was distracted or resistant, the programming felt less effective. But the nights when I took time to really prepare, when I approached the process with openness and trust, those were the nights when I woke up feeling genuinely different. The compound effect, how small changes create big transformation. One of the most beautiful things about sleep programming is that it works through what I call the compound effect. Each night builds on the previous nights, creating momentum that eventually reaches a tipping point. You might not notice dramatic changes after one night or even 1 week, but if you pay attention, you'll start noticing small shifts. Maybe you speak up in a meeting where you normally would have stayed quiet. Maybe you don't check your phone obsessively after texting someone you like. Maybe you just feel a little more comfortable in your own skin. These small shifts might seem insignificant, but they're actually evidence that your subconscious programming is changing. And as you continue the work, these small changes compound into bigger and bigger transformations. After about 3 weeks of consistent sleep programming, I looked back at my journal from a month earlier and barely recognized the person who had written those entries. The insecure, validation-seeking woman who had been so frustrated with her inability to change felt like a completely different person. Not because I had become perfect, but because my default way of being had shifted. Instead of constantly seeking approval and validation, I was naturally comfortable being myself. Instead of chasing opportunities and relationships, I was attracting them. The programming had become integrated into my identity so deeply that it didn't feel like something I was doing. It felt like who I was. Why tonight matters more than you think. Here's something that might surprise you. Your next sleep cycle is more important than all the self-help books you've ever read combined. Tonight, your brain will spend about 8 hours processing, integrating, and rewiring neural pathways. The question is, what will it be working with? Will it be processing the same old anxieties, insecurities, and limiting beliefs that have been running on repeat for years? Or will it be integrating powerful new programming about your magnetic nature, your worthiness, your natural ability to attract what you desire? The choice is entirely yours. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to wait until you feel ready, or until you have more confidence, or until your life is perfect. You can start tonight right where you are. Your subconscious mind doesn't judge you for your past patterns or current limitations. It simply works with whatever programming you give it. And when you give it programming that aligns with your true nature, your magnetic, powerful, worthy self, it gets to work. immediately creating that new reality. But before we dive into the actual programming techniques, there's one more crucial piece we need to cover: creating the perfect environment for magnetic sleep programming. Because even the most powerful affirmations won't be fully effective if your physical and energetic environment isn't supporting the transformation process. Your bedroom, your bedtime routine, even the temperature of your room can significantly impact how well your subconscious receives and integrates new programming. Tomorrow night could literally be the beginning of a completely new version of yourself. But first, you need to know how to set up your space and yourself for maximum receptivity and transformation. I used to think sleep programming was just about finding the right affirmations and pressing play. I'd thrown together a playlist of confidence boosters I found on YouTube, plugged in my earbuds, and expected magic to happen. And honestly, the results were pretty disappointing. Some nights I'd fall asleep before the affirmations even started. Other nights I'd lie there wide awake, analyzing every word instead of actually receiving the programming. I'd wake up feeling basically the same as always, maybe even more frustrated because I'd gotten my hopes up. Then I learned something that changed everything. Your environment and preparation matter just as much as the programming itself, maybe more. Your subconscious mind is incredibly sensitive to energy, to atmosphere, to the subtle signals you're sending about how important this work is to you. When you treat sleep programming like just another thing to check off your list, your subconscious treats it like background noise. But when you create a sacred space for transformation, when you approach your sleep programming with intention and reverence, something powerful happens. Your subconscious mind pays attention. It receives the programming at a deeper level, and the changes start happening much faster. Let me show you exactly how to set up your space and yourself for magnetic transformation that actually sticks. The night everything changed. My accidental discovery. I'll never forget the night I accidentally discovered how much environment matters. I'd been doing sleep programming for about 2 weeks with mediocre results, some small shifts, but nothing dramatic. I was starting to think maybe I was one of those people it just doesn't work for. Then my roommate decided to have people over on a Tuesday night. Not a huge party, but enough noise that I couldn't sleep in my usual spot. So I grabbed my pillow and blanket and set up camp in our little sunroom, this tiny space with windows on 3 sides that we barely used. I lit a candle because the overhead light was too harsh, put my phone on airplane mode so I wouldn't get distracted by notifications, and did my sleep programming in this completely different environment. You guys. I woke up the next morning feeling like a different person. It wasn't just that I felt more confident. I felt more like myself than I had in years. More grounded, more centered, more naturally magnetic. At work that day, people kept commenting on how good I looked, how there was something different about my energy. That's when I realized I'd been completely underestimating the power of environment. That little sunroom had accidentally become a perfect sleep programming sanctuary, quiet, peaceful, separated from the distractions and energy of my regular life. From that night on, I started treating my sleep programming space as sacred. And that's when the real transformation began. Why your environment is your silent programming partner. Your subconscious mind is constantly reading and responding to environmental cues, even when you're not consciously aware of them. The energy of your space, the lighting, the sounds, the scents, all of these elements are either supporting your programming or subtly working against it. Think about how different you feel in different environments. A cluttered, shite, chaotic room probably makes you feel scattered and unfocused. A clean, peaceful space naturally helps you feel more calm and centered. A room filled with harsh lighting and electronic noise creates a completely different energy than a room with soft lighting and gentle sounds. Your sleeping space is where you'll be doing some of the most important work of your transformation. It needs to feel like a sanctuary, a place where your subconscious mind knows it's safe to let go of old patterns and receive new programming. This doesn't mean you need to redecorate your entire bedroom or spend a bunch of money on fancy equipment. But it does mean being intentional about creating an environment that supports the work you're doing. The Magnetic Sleep Sanctuary, setting up your space. Let me walk you through exactly how to transform your bedroom into a space that amplifies your sleep programming results. These changes might seem small, but I promise they make a huge difference in how effectively your subconscious receives new programming. Clear the energy clutter. First things first, your space needs to be energetically clean. This means removing anything that carries stressful or distracting energy. Work materials, laptops, documents, anything related to your job need to leave the bedroom. Your subconscious associates these items with stress, deadlines, and performance pressure. Having them in your sleep space keeps part of your mind in work mode, which blocks deep relaxation and receptivity. exercise equipment, laundry piles, random clutter, all of this creates mental noise that interferes with programming. I'm not saying your room has to be perfect, but it should feel peaceful and intentional rather than chaotic. Photos and mementos that bring up complicated emotions should also be temporarily relocated. You want your sleep space to feel emotionally neutral and safe, not triggering memories or feelings that could interfere with your programming. Create visual, calm. Your eyes are the last sense to go offline when you're falling asleep, so what you see as you drift off matters more than you might think. Harsh overhead lighting is one of the biggest programming killers. Bright lights signal to your brain that it's time to be alert and active, not receptive and relaxed. If possible, use lamps with warm, soft bulbs for your evening routine. I invested in some inexpensive string lights with a warm glow. Nothing fancy, just something that creates gentle, peaceful lighting. The soft light helps signal to my subconscious that this is sacred time, different from the rest of my day. Electronic screens are another big issue. The blue light from phones, tablets, and TVs disrupts your brain's natural sleep preparation process. More importantly, for our purposes, screens keep your conscious mind active when you need it to go offline for programming. I put my phone on airplane mode at least an hour before sleep programming, not just on silent, completely offline. This removes the temptation to check messages or scroll through social media when I should be preparing for transformation. Sound, your invisible programming amplifier. The sounds in your environment during sleep programming can either enhance your results or completely sabotage them. Background noise from traffic, neighbors, or electronics creates stress in your nervous system, even if you think you're used to it. If you live in a noisy area, consider investing in a white noise machine or earplugs. But here's something most people don't know. Complete silence isn't always ideal for sleep programming either. Your brain can become hyper alert to every little sound when it's too quiet. The sweet spot is gentle, consistent sound that masks distracting noise without being distracting itself. I use a small fan for white noise, not because I need the air circulation, but because the consistent, gentle sound helps my brain settle into programming mode. Some people love nature sounds, rain, ocean waves, forest ambience. These can be beautiful for sleep programming as long as they're subtle and consistent. Avoid anything with sudden changes in volume or unexpected sounds that might pull your attention back to conscious awareness. Temperature, the forgotten factor. This might seem minor, but temperature has a huge impact on how effectively your subconscious receives programming. When you're too hot or too cold, part of your attention stays focused on physical comfort instead of fully relaxing into the programming. The ideal temperature for most people is somewhere between 65-68 degrees Fahrenheit, cool enough that you're not overheating under blankets, but warm enough that you're not shivering or tense with cold. I learned this the hard way during a heat wave when my air conditioning broke. Despite using the same programming techniques that had been working beautifully, I had terrible results for a week. I was so uncomfortable that I couldn't fully relax into the process, and my subconscious was focused on the physical discomfort instead of receiving the programming. Scent, the direct line to your subconscious. Of all your senses, smell has the most direct pathway to your subconscious mind. Scent bypasses your rational, analytical thinking and goes straight to the emotional and memory centers of your brain. This makes scent incredibly powerful for sleep programming, but you have to use it intentionally. Strong or distracting fragrances can actually interfere with the process by keeping your sensory awareness too active. I use a very light lavender essential oil, just a tiny drop on my pillowcase or wrist. Lavender is naturally calming and helps signal to my nervous system that it's time to relax. But the key is using just enough to create a subtle, peaceful atmosphere without overwhelming my senses. Some people prefer vanilla, sandalwood, or even no scent at all. The important thing is choosing something or nothing that feels peaceful and doesn't distract from your programming. The 7-minute evening energy shift. Now that your space is set up for success, let's talk about the preparation ritual that primes your mind and energy for maximum programming receptivity. This isn't just a relaxation routine. It's a deliberate process of shifting from your daytime energy into your magnetic programming state. I call this the evening energy shift, and it's become the most important 7 minutes of my day. These few minutes of intentional preparation make the difference between programming that sort of works and programming that creates profound, lasting change. Minutes 1 and 2, the energy inventory. Before you can shift your energy, you need to know what energy you're currently carrying. Most of us move through our days accumulating emotional and energetic residue from every interaction, every environment, every thought and feeling. Sit comfortably in your prepared space and take a moment to honestly assess what you're carrying energetically. Are you stressed from work, anxious about tomorrow, frustrated about something that happened today, excited about a new opportunity? Don't judge whatever comes up, just notice it. Your energy isn't good or bad, it just is. But if you want to program magnetic, confident, self-assured energy while you sleep, you need to first acknowledge and clear whatever energy you're currently carrying. I literally do a mental body scan, starting from the top of my head and moving down to my toes, noticing where I'm holding tension, what emotions are present, what my overall energy feels like. This awareness is the first step in consciously shifting your state. Minutes 3, 4, the energy release. Once you know what energy you're carrying, you can consciously release anything that doesn't serve your programming goals. My favorite technique for this is what I call the golden light shower. I visualize warm, golden light flowing down from above my head, washing through my entire body and energy field. As this light moves through me, it dissolves any energy that isn't mine, other people's moods, expectations, judgments, stress. I imagine all of this foreign energy flowing down through my feet and into the earth where it can be recycled into something useful. I see myself stepping out of this energy shower feeling clean, clear, and completely myself. This might sound new agey, but it works incredibly well. Your subconscious mind responds powerfully to visualization, and this process creates a clear energetic boundary between your day and your sleep programming time. Some nights I'm carrying more energy than others, and I might spend an extra minute or two on this step. The goal is to feel genuinely clear and neutral before moving to the next phase. Minutes 5 to 6. The intention bridge. This is where you consciously bridge from your current state to the magnetic state you want to program. It's not enough to just clear old energy. You need to actively call in the energy you want to embody. I place my hands on my heart and take 3 deep breaths, imagining that with each breath, I'm drawing in the qualities I want to strengthen: magnetism, confidence, self-love, trust in my natural power. Then I speak my intention for the night's programming, either out loud or silently. Something like, I'm ready to receive programming that aligns me with my natural magnetic power. I trust my subconscious mind to integrate these new patterns perfectly. I am open to becoming the most authentic, powerful version of myself. The specific words matter less than the genuine intention behind them. Your subconscious responds to sincerity and clarity, not perfect phrasing. Minute 7, the surrender state. This final minute is about letting go completely, releasing any need to control the programming process, any anxiety about whether it will work, any analysis or mental chatter. I do what I call surrender breathing, long, slow exhales where I consciously release any attachment to outcomes. I remind myself that my subconscious mind knows exactly what to do with the programming I'm about to receive. This surrender state is crucial because resistance, even unconscious resistance, can block programming from taking root. When you're trying too hard, wanting results too desperately, or doubting the process, that energy gets programmed in along with your affirmations. But when you approach sleep programming from a state of relaxed trust, when you're genuinely open and receptive, the programming can go much deeper and integrate much more effectively. By the end of these 7 minutes, I feel completely different than when I started, calmer, clearer, and genuinely excited about the transformation that's about to happen during sleep. The visualization that starts working before you sleep. Once you're in this prepared state, there's one more technique that can dramatically amplify your programming results: pre-sleep visualization. This isn't about visualizing your dream life or trying to manifest specific outcomes. This is about giving your subconscious mind a clear template of the energy and presence you want to embody. I spend about 5 minutes visualizing myself as the magnetic confident woman I'm programming myself to become. But here's the key. I don't visualize perfect scenarios or fantasy outcomes. I visualize myself embodying magnetic energy in ordinary, realistic situations. I see myself walking into my office tomorrow morning, comfortable in my own skin, naturally drawing positive attention without trying. I visualize having a conversation with a cute guy at the coffee shop, feeling relaxed and authentic instead of nervous and performance-oriented. I imagine myself at a party, genuinely enjoying connecting with people instead of worrying about whether they like me. I see myself making decisions from a place of inner knowing instead of seeking external validation. The more specific and realistic these visualizations are, the more effectively your subconscious can work with them during sleep. You're essentially giving your brain a blueprint of how you want to show up in the world. But here's what makes this visualization so powerful. I don't just see these scenarios, I feel them. I tune into the energy of being comfortable in my own skin, of trusting myself completely, of knowing that I'm naturally magnetic and worthy of love and attention. This feeling state is what your subconscious will work to recreate. The more vividly you can feel your magnetic energy during visualization, the more quickly that energy will become your natural way of being. The common mistakes that kill your results. Before we move on to the actual programming techniques, I need to warn you about the mistakes I see people making that completely sabotage their results. Mistake number 1, rushing the preparation. I get it. You're excited to start the programming and see results, but skipping or rushing through the preparation is like trying to plant seeds in concrete. The programming might sort of work, but it won't take root at the deep level where real transformation happens. The preparation isn't just busy work. It's an essential part of the process that primes your subconscious for maximum receptivity. Mistake number 2, programming when you're wired or stressed. If you've had a crazy day and you're still running on adrenaline, don't jump straight into sleep programming. Take some time to actually wind down first, or the programming will compete with stress hormones and scattered mental energy. It's better to skip a night than to program from a frantic state. Mistake number 3, expecting overnight miracles. Sleep programming is incredibly powerful, but it works through compound effect, not magic overnight transformation. Some people see dramatic shifts quickly. Others need a few weeks to notice significant changes. Trust the process and focus on small improvements rather than waiting for a complete personality overhaul. Mistake number 4, using programming that doesn't match your current reality. If your subconscious mind believes you're completely unworthy of love, starting with, I am irresistibly magnetic to everyone, might create internal resistance. It's better to start with programming that feels believable and gradually build up to more powerful statements. Why? Tomorrow night is your real starting point. You might be thinking that all of this preparation sounds like a lot of work. And honestly, compared to just throwing on some affirmations and hoping for the best, it is more involved. But here's what I learned. The difference between people who get life-changing results from sleep programming and people who see minor improvements is usually the difference between those who prepare properly and those who skip the preparation. When you create sacred space for your transformation, when you approach sleep programming with intention and reverence, you're sending a powerful message to your subconscious mind. This work matters. This change is important. I'm ready to receive new programming at the deepest level. Your subconscious responds to that message by receiving and integrating the programming much more effectively. Tomorrow night, you'll have everything you need to create your own magnetic sleep sanctuary. You'll know how to shift your energy, prepare your space, and prime your subconscious for transformation. But first, you need the actual programming content, the specific affirmations, scripts, and techniques that will reprogram your subconscious mind to embody natural magnetism and feminine power. These aren't just random positive statements. They're carefully crafted scripts designed to work with how your subconscious mind actually processes information during sleep. And when you combine these scripts with proper preparation, the transformation can be absolutely profound. Are you ready to learn the exact words and techniques that will reprogram your mind for magnetic presence while you sleep? Okay, this is where things get really exciting. Everything we've talked about so far, understanding feminine energy, how your subconscious works, setting up your space, it's all been building to this moment because now you're going to get the actual programming that will rewire your mind for natural magnetism while you sleep. But before I share these scripts with you, I need to tell you something important. These aren't just pretty words or generic affirmations I pulled from the internet. Every single phrase, every pause, every repetition pattern has been carefully crafted based on how your subconscious mind actually processes information during sleep. I learned this the hard way. For months, I was using random affirmations I found online. Stuff like, I am confident and I love myself, repeated over and over. And while those statements are lovely, they weren't creating the deep transformation I was looking for. Then I discovered something that changed everything. Your subconscious mind during sleep doesn't respond the same way your conscious mind does when you're awake. It needs programming that speaks its language, imagery, emotion, present tense reality, and specific instruction that bypasses analytical thinking. The scripts I'm about to share with you are the result of years of research, experimentation, and refinement. They are the exact words that transform me from a validation-seeking people pleaser into a woman who naturally draws opportunities, connections, and love into her life. And tonight, they can start working for you too. The night I discovered the power of precise programming. Let me tell you about the night that taught me why the specific words you use during sleep programming matter so much. I'd been doing sleep affirmations for about a month with okay results. Some improvement in confidence, but nothing dramatic. Then my friend Maya, who's into all kinds of spiritual and energy work, offered to create a custom sleep recording for me based on some advanced techniques she'd learned. I was skeptical because her recording sounded so different from what I'd been using. Instead of simple affirmations repeated over and over, it told a story. It painted vivid pictures. It spoke to me like I was already the magnetic, confident woman I wanted to become. The language was specific and sensory. Instead of "I am confident," it said things like, "You feel your natural magnetism radiating from your core, drawing others to your authentic energy like flowers turning toward the sun." That first night using Maya's recording, I had the most vivid dreams. I dreamed I was at a party, completely comfortable in my own skin, having deep conversations with fascinating people who were genuinely interested in what I had to say. I dreamed I was walking down the street and people smiled at me just because my energy was so warm and inviting. But here's the crazy part. When I woke up, those dream feelings stayed with me. For the first time in my adult life, I got dressed in the morning without overthinking my outfit. I walked into work feeling like I belonged there. I spoke up in meetings without second-guessing myself. That's when I realized that the way you program your subconscious mind matters just as much as what you program it with. The 4 foundational frequencies, your magnetic core programming. Over the years, I've discovered that magnetic feminine energy operates on 4 core frequencies. Think of these as the foundation stones of your magnetic presence. When these 4 elements are programmed into your subconscious, everything else flows naturally from them. Most sleep programming focuses on just one frequency, usually confidence. But true magnetism comes from the intersection of all 4 frequencies working together. When you program all 4 consistently, you don't just become more confident, you become magnetically attractive in every area of your life. Frequency 1, inherent worth. This is the foundation of all magnetic energy. When you truly know at a subconscious level that you are inherently valuable and worthy of love, attention, and respect, you stop seeking validation from external sources. And that self-contained energy is incredibly magnetic. The programming for inherent worth isn't about convincing yourself you're perfect. It's about installing the deep knowing that your worth isn't conditional on your performance, your looks, your achievements, or other people's approval. Here's the core script for inherent worth. You are worthy of love simply because you exist. Your value is not earned through achievement or appearance. It is your birthright as a divine feminine being. Feel this truth settling into every cell of your body. You belong in every room you enter, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Your worth is unshakable, unquestionable, and absolute. Notice the language here. It's not trying to convince you of something that feels untrue. It's stating your worth as a fact and asking your body to feel it as reality. Your subconscious mind responds much better to statements that feel inevitable rather than hopeful. Frequency 2, natural magnetism. This frequency programs the knowing that drawing people and opportunities to you is your natural state, not something you have to work for or earn. When this frequency is active, you stop chasing and start attracting. Magnetism flows through you as naturally as breath. You draw to yourself everything that aligns with your highest good. People who appreciate your authenticity, opportunities that excite your soul, experiences that help you grow. Your energy is like a beacon, calling forth what belongs in your life while gently repelling what doesn't serve you. You trust in your natural power to attract rather than chase. This script works because it frames magnetism as natural and effortless rather than something you have to try to create. Your subconscious loves instructions that feel easy and natural. Frequency 3, authentic power. True magnetic power comes from authenticity, not from trying to be what you think others want. This frequency programs you to trust your intuition, speak your truth, and show up as yourself without apology. Your authentic self is your most powerful self. Every time you choose truth over approval, you become more magnetic. Your opinions matter, your voice deserves to be heard, your perspective adds value to every conversation. You trust your intuition completely and make decisions from your inner wisdom. Others are drawn to your authenticity because it gives them permission to be real too. This programming is crucial because so many of us learn to dim our authentic selves to fit in or avoid judgment. But people are actually most drawn to women who are comfortable being themselves. Frequency 4, radiant self-love. This frequency is about loving yourself so fully that it overflows and touches everyone around you. When you radiate self-love, people want to be in your energy because it feels good to be around someone who genuinely likes themselves. You love yourself completely and unconditionally. This love radiates from you like warm sunshine, making everyone in your presence feel valued and appreciated. You speak to yourself with kindness, treat yourself with respect, and honor your needs without guilt. Your self-love is not selfish. It's the gift you give to the world. When all 4 frequencies are programmed and active, you naturally embody the kind of magnetic presence that draws people and opportunities to you effortlessly. The layering technique, how to program multiple frequencies for maximum impact. Here's something most people don't know about sleep programming. Your subconscious mind can process multiple layers of information simultaneously during different sleep stages. This means you can layer your programming for compound results. I learned this technique from a neuroscientist who was studying how the brain processes information during sleep. She explained that during the lightest stage of sleep, your mind can still follow narrative and specific instruction. During deeper stages, it responds better to repetitive, emotion-based programming. And during REM sleep, it integrates everything through symbolic and visual processing. This discovery revolutionized my sleep programming results. Layer 1, the narrative foundation, light sleep. This layer tells the story of who you're becoming. It's like giving your subconscious mind a detailed blueprint of your magnetic self. This layer works best during the transition from wakefulness to sleep, when you can still follow complex language and ideas. As you drift into sleep, imagine yourself 6 months from now. See yourself walking into a room with complete confidence, comfortable in your own skin. Notice how people are naturally drawn to you, not because you're trying to get their attention, but because your energy is so warm and authentic. You speak with quiet confidence, knowing your words have value. You make decisions easily because you trust yourself completely. You attract opportunities effortlessly because you're aligned with your authentic power. This is not a fantasy. This is your natural state, emerging as you release old patterns that never served you. Layer 2, the cellular programming, deep sleep. During deeper sleep stages, your subconscious responds better to simple, repetitive statements that can be absorbed at a cellular level. This layer literally programs your body and energy field with magnetic frequencies. I am magnetic. I am worthy. I am loved. I am powerful. I am magnetic. I am worthy. I am loved. I am powerful. These simple statements might seem basic compared to the narrative layer, but repetition during deep sleep is incredibly powerful for installing new beliefs at the subconscious level. Layer 3, the integration imagery, REM sleep. During REM sleep, your brain processes information through images and symbols. This layer uses visualization to help your subconscious integrate the new programming into your identity. See yourself surrounded by golden light that represents your natural magnetism. This light grows brighter with each breath, expanding beyond your body to create an energy field that draws everything good to you. Feel this light healing any old wounds around worth or lovability. See yourself stepping into this new version of yourself completely, leaving behind any version of you that felt small or powerless. You are radiant, magnetic, and deeply loved. The breathing pattern that activates your magnetic field. This is probably the most powerful technique I'm going to share with you, and it's something I discovered completely by accident. I was going through a particularly stressful period at work, dealing with a difficult boss, long hours, and general burnout. My sleep programming was helping with confidence, but I still felt drained and scattered most days. Then one night, I was so tired that I fell asleep before my programming even started. But I woke up feeling more energized and magnetic than I had in weeks. I couldn't figure out what was different until I realized that I had been doing this specific breathing pattern as I fell asleep, something I'd learned in a yoga class but never connected to my sleep programming. That breathing pattern, it turns out, where activates what energy workers call your magnetic field, the energy that surrounds your body and influences how others respond to you. The magnetic breath activation. Here's the exact breathing pattern that can activate your magnetic field while programming your subconscious. Inhale for 4 counts, imagining golden light entering through the top of your head and filling your heart center. Hold for 4 counts, feeling this light expanding throughout your chest and core. Exhale for 8 counts, visualizing this light radiating out from your body in all directions, creating an energy field of magnetism around you. Repeat this pattern 8 times before starting your sleep programming. This breathing technique does several things simultaneously. The 4-4-8 pattern naturally calms your nervous system and prepares you for sleep. The visualization activates your imagination and engages your subconscious mind. And the focus on expanding light creates the energetic sensation of magnetism that your subconscious can then replicate naturally. After incorporating this breathing pattern into my routine, people started commenting on my glow and asking what I was doing differently. My energy felt stronger and more radiant, and I noticed I was naturally attracting more positive interactions throughout my day. The complete magnetic programming session. Your step-by-step script. Now, let me put it all together for you. This is the complete programming session that incorporates everything we've discussed: the 4 frequencies, the layering technique, and the magnetic breath activation. This session is designed to take about 45 minutes to an hour, which gives your brain time to move through different sleep stages while receiving layered programming. Minutes: 1, 10. Magnetic breath activation. Plus transition. Begin with 8 cycles of the magnetic breathing pattern described above. As your breathing naturally slows and deepens, feel yourself sinking into complete relaxation. Your conscious mind is stepping aside now, allowing your subconscious to receive everything it needs for your transformation. You are safe, supported, and ready to become the magnetic woman you were born to be. Minutes 11 to 25, the 4 frequency installation. This section cycles through each of the 4 core frequencies, spending about 3-4 minutes on each one. Inherent worth. You're worthy of love simply because you exist. Your value is not earned. It is your birthright. Feel this truth in every cell of your body. Natural magnetism. Magnetism flows through you as naturally as breath. You draw everything that aligns with your highest good. Authentic power. Your authentic self is your most powerful self. You trust your intuition completely and speak your truth with confidence. Radiant self-love. You love yourself completely and unconditionally. This love radiates from you like warm sunshine. Minutes 26:40. Deep cellular programming. As you move into deeper sleep, the programming becomes more repetitive and rhythm-based. I am magnetic. I am worthy. I am loved. I am powerful. I am magnetic. I am worthy. I am loved. I am powerful. This section repeats these core statements with gentle background music or nature sounds, allowing the programming to sink into your subconscious at a cellular level. Minutes 41 to 50. Integration and future self. The final layer helps your subconscious integrate everything and project this new energy into your waking life. See yourself tomorrow, embodying all of this magnetic energy naturally. Watch yourself moving through your day with quiet confidence, drawing positive people and experiences to you effortlessly. This is not something you have to remember to do. It's who you are becoming automatically. Sleep now and let these new patterns integrate completely, customizing your programming, making it personal. While the script I just shared is incredibly powerful, you might want to customize certain elements to match your specific goals and personality. Your subconscious responds even better to programming that feels personally relevant. For career magnetism, add specific statements about professional confidence. You speak with authority in meetings, knowing your ideas have value. Opportunities seek you out because leaders recognize your natural magnetism and competence. For romantic magnetism, include programming about attracting healthy love. You naturally attract partners who appreciate your authenticity and match your energy. You trust yourself completely in romantic situations, knowing that the right person will be drawn to the real you. For social magnetism, focus on social confidence. You feel completely comfortable in social situations, knowing that your genuine interest in others makes you naturally magnetic. Conversations flow easily because you're present and authentic. The key is to keep any customization positive, present tense, and focused on your natural abilities rather than what you lack. The warning signs. When programming isn't working. Before we move on, I need to warn you about some common signs that your programming isn't taking root effectively. If you notice these patterns, it usually means you need to adjust your approach. Sign number 1, feeling resistant or skeptical during programming. If you find yourself mentally arguing with the affirmations or feeling skeptical about whether they're true, your conscious mind is interfering with the process. This usually means you need to spend more time on the preparation phase, getting into a genuinely receptive state before starting the programming. Sign number 2, no changes. After 2 weeks, sleep programming works for almost everyone, but some people need to adjust their approach. If you're not noticing any shifts after consistent practice for 2 weeks, try slowing down the programming. Some people need more time to absorb each layer, or adjusting the language to feel more believable. Sign number 3, feeling more anxious or uncomfortable. This can happen if you're trying to program beliefs that feel too far from your current reality. If programming, I am irresistibly magnetic, makes you feel anxious, start with something gentler like, I am learning to appreciate my natural qualities. Sign number 4, great results that don't last. If you see amazing changes for a few days and then revert to old patterns, you're probably not giving the new programming enough time to integrate. Consistency is key. It usually takes at least 21 days for new patterns to feel natural and automatic. Why tonight is just the beginning. I want you to understand something important. The programming session I just shared with you is incredibly powerful, but it's just the foundation. Think of it as installing the basic operating system for your magnetic presence. Once this foundation is solid, once your subconscious really believes in your worth, magnetism, power, and self-love, you can build on it with more advanced techniques. You can program specific qualities like intuitive wisdom, creative magnetism, or leadership presence. You can work on healing old wounds that might be blocking your energy. You can even program your energy to attract specific experiences or opportunities. But all of that advanced work is built on the foundation of these 4 core frequencies. Master these first, and everything else becomes possible. The woman you can become through this work, the magnetic, confident, self-possessed woman who naturally attracts everything she desires. She's not some fantasy version of yourself. She's who you actually are underneath all the conditioning and limiting beliefs that convinced you to play small. Tonight, when you lie down with these scripts, you'll be calling her forth. You'll be giving your subconscious mind permission to release the patterns that never served you and embrace the magnetic power that's been waiting inside you all along. But there's one more level to this work that most people never discover. Once your basic magnetic programming is solid, you can learn to work with advanced energy techniques that amplify your results exponentially. These techniques work with your chakra system, your auric field, and even your connection to universal feminine energy. They're the difference between being generally more confident and becoming genuinely magnetic. The kind of woman people can't quite explain but can't forget. Are you ready to take your transformation to that level?